and welcome back to Besties in Book Lore. This is the series where two besties talk about our current reads, both good and bad. And today we're talking about our top 10 reads of 2024. So, I have some stats that I didn't even share with you yet, Kim, because I don't know if you're going to be surprised by them or maybe not.
All right, let's see. Probably not, but let's hear.
Probably not. I mean, the first two are obvious. It's our goals versus how much we read. My goal was 25. Last year I read 25 books, and it was like I was like scraping by at the end of the year trying to get my 25 books. So I was like, I'm just gonna do 25 again and play it safe. And now I've read 57. So I'm sure both of us will like read a few more books before the end of 2 weeks or how long we have left in the year. But for now I have 57. So I feel really good about that. I doubled it, or yeah. I over doubled it, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? I did more than double.
Yes.
And so I feel
we crushed your goal.
I think us like getting so into reading this year together helped me like motivate me to read more, because I feel like last year we didn't read a lot of the same books, and like we just weren't as into it as this year, I feel like.
No, also shout out to KU, because I feel like we were able to easily grab books. We could just jump on and pick stuff up, and then we both had it so we could read the same things. So shout out to KU.
I do think reading on a Kindle, this year, I think this year is the first year I really read on Kindle, and I think I go faster on a Kindle because I'm less intimidated by how much I have left. I'm not like thinking about that as much, so I think that helps a lot. Kim's goal was 100, and actually I think your goal was 50, wasn't it?
My goal was 50, yeah. So my goal was 50, and then I hit 50 in like June, and I was like, well, that can't be my goal because I hit it at 6 months, and that felt like it was not a correct goal. So I changed it to 100 in June, and then
whereas I did
128.
Whereas I did not change my goal because I wanted all the credit for going that much over my original goal.
Well, I thought maybe 100 was a realistic goal, and actually I feel good that I beat that, and I think I'll probably end up with like closer to 130 to 135 by the end of the year.
So you're at 128 right now. So I think you'll probably read. Did you just say like 3 or 4 more? How much?
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to get to 60, so I have 3 more books to read to get to 60, and I think I can do that. I'm working on 2 right now, so then I just have to do 1 more. I'll probably do like a little something Christmassy and simple. So yay for us. I feel like we did really good. I'm very proud, even though you're gonna like triple mine. It's fine. Okay, also this is the one that I didn't know like you knew, but we had 47 books in common. So basically like I read a book and then recommended it to you, or vice versa, or you read a book this year that I read last year, or vice versa. So 47. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I read 57 books, and we have 47 books in common. So there's only 10 books that I've read that you haven't read. Which is crazy, but and the other stat I have is that we did 8 official buddy reads this year. But that's not super accurate because I feel like we did some that we didn't officially do. Like Funny Story, we didn't officially do a buddy read for. Cerulean Sea, we read at the same time but didn't do a buddy read for. So
just for the summer we read at the same time. We didn't do a buddy read for. So there were quite a few books that we read at the same time, pre-doing Storygraph buddy reads.
But interesting because I feel like we started using Storygraph in the beginning of the year, didn't we?
I think we missed that feature.
We just didn't use that feature.
But now we'll be using it a lot going into the new year.
And those are my fun facts for the beginning of this video. But now we'll go into the actual 10 books that we each have our own 10 books. But we do have some overlap. So I'll go ahead and let you start, Kim, with the first one.
And I'm going to first say, like, I feel like I cheated because I picked books if they were in a series together, and the series as a whole makes my, like, top 10 reads. I didn't do it individually by books. I did it by, like, reads.
I think that's fair.
So I considered a series to be a read. So the one, if you've been watching our videos, you've watched our other videos, the number one for us is The Legends of Besmar, Blood and Steel, by Helen Schuer. But we love this series. Excellent. It's about a girl who wants to be a warrior. It's about a guy who is already a warrior who kind of ends up getting paired up with her, and their journey to save the world from some monsters. So it's awesome. It's a great series. Highly recommend it. Can't say enough good things.
Yep, I think we've yapped enough. We have a whole video about that entire series. If you're interested in hearing more about that, you can go check that out.
Yep.
We probably don't need to go into any more detail.
No.
Besides saying that it was our favorite book of the year, our favorite series of the year. So I think that speaks volumes. Second one that we have in common is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which we did. I noticed we both didn't put the Empyrean series on our list, so I don't know.
Nope.
Maybe that one was deliberately just Fourth Wing.
Mine was deliberately just Fourth Wing.
Okay, fair. I liked both. I didn't have a problem with Iron Flame, but I definitely liked Fourth Wing better. I feel like Iron Flame maybe dragged a little bit, but
yeah, I think it dragged a little bit. I think some of the characters needed a little bit to be less annoying.
yeah,
And the ending was a little bit frustrating.
yeah.
So but Fourth Wing itself, so good.
Yeah.
Friendships, romance, dragons.
Yeah. I think it helps that it was like one of our first like romantic-y reads.
Yeah.
So I think it will always have like a special place in our hearts. I'm currently doing a reread right now, but I'm listening to the graphic audio, and so that's been really fun. And I've been a little nervous that like I'm gonna reread it and be like, oh, this isn't as good as like now that I've read so much more romantic-y, and like I feel like I have a more like refined taste, if you will, than I did before. Considering it was like my second, I think I read ACOTAR and then Fourth Wing, and you were the opposite, right? You did Fourth Wing and then
I read Fourth Wing and then read ACOTAR. Yep.
So I don't know, but it's holding up. It does feel a little juvenile, but I don't think I care.
Yeah.
Still fun, and I think, it's unserious, and I like that, so.
I think it's serious when it needs to be. It has good humor. It has good, we've talked in other videos about we love the side character, right?
Yeah.
And like this book has really good side characters. So
there are a lot of characters. I mean, I was like reading back, I'm like, wow, there really are a lot of characters, and I didn't really like log that, but it's true. And they're all characters, so I do think that like carries it a lot of the time.
For sure.
So.
For sure. All right, so book 3, we've already talked about this book too, Quicksilver by Carrie Hart. This series is unfinished, so we can only put Quicksilver on, but I will be surprised if I wouldn't have put the whole series on, because I have a good feeling this series is just going to be great, because this book was just excellent. I just described this book today to somebody as, I don't like unfinished series, but this book made me happy I read it, even with it being unfinished.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't feel like like a sense of agony. I think we might have said this in our previous video. Like, it doesn't feel like, I mean, I want to know what's going to happen. I'm excited. I'm excited because we've both said the first book is usually like the worst book in a series. So I liked it a lot, and I had some notes, but I liked it a lot. And like the feeling that I have around that book is so positive and like adventurous and fun that I'm really excited to read the next one, and I can't imagine it not being good, especially being, I think it's gonna be traditionally published now, so there's gonna be a lot of like editors, and I feel like it's gonna be more refined than Quicksilver was, so I feel like it's gonna be even better, and I'm excited. Do we have a date on that or no? We don't, right?
No, I don't think she does yet, but hopefully soon.
I hope next
Maybe
year
a
at
Christmas
least.
gift for us will be a
Yeah.
release date for book 2.
Yeah, that would be nice. Okay. Next one is Powerless, which we also have in common on our list, and we buddy read, right?
We did. We buddy read both Powerless and Reckless.
Yes. So this is the series. Are we saying the series on this one?
So
No.
it was a toss up for me. I think Powerless is better. I think Reckless dragged a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like her characters, and so I was able to kind of still be roped in. I feel like maybe we'll say Powerless and hold off judgment until book 3 comes out in April. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the theme here is that like unfinished series. We're not calling it the whole series. Was our favorite because we can't yet because we haven't completed them. Yeah, I love Powerless. I'm finding like as I'm looking at my list here, like in hindsight, I just love like the adventurous, magical, adventurous like romances. They leave me with such a good feeling, and I feel like Powerless was kind of the epitome of that. It was just like very adventurous and like a girl on her like um I don't know, self discovery journey, like, and I
Yeah.
and like she's kind of figuring out the world while we are figuring out the world. I like that too. And I felt like Powerless and Quicksilver were very similar vibes.
I would agree with that.
As far as like
I
having
think different on the spice level. Powerless is YA, Quicksilver is obviously not, but yeah, similar female character
yeah.
growth in both books for sure.
So if you liked one, you'll like the other. I think it's probably safe to say.
All right, so our 5th book in common is not Romantasy, which I know is shocking because I feel like that's what we talk about a lot. But Funny Story by Emily Henry. You know, this book about a girl who gets dumped by her long-term boyfriend and moves in with his new girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. And a similar, I guess, in what we just talked about is journey of finding herself, right? Trying to figure out who she is now that she's not with this person anymore. It's the only book I reread 2 times in 2024. Emily Henry's just a magician and just writes good characters and good books. So
yeah, I'm convinced she can do no wrong, honestly. Yeah. I feel like she's the bar, like, for romance for me. I'm kind of having a harder time reading just, like, traditional romances now that we've done so much fantasy, like, romantasy. But Emily Henry always hits, so.
Always hits.
Yeah.
So looking forward to A Great Big Beautiful Life in April.
Yeah, that'll be so fun.
I'm sure it'll hit the same.
Yeah. The next one we have in common, and the last one that we have in common, is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one's like a magical realism. What did you call it? A paranormal romance?
Paranormal romance.
Yeah, so I really liked that aspect of it. I think I really like a time travel type book, like time warping, whatever. I don't know what you want to consider that. I really liked that.
Yeah, it's time travel without being time travel.
Yeah, without a lot of traveling, but like I don't know.
Yeah, she lives in an apartment that she basically meets somebody who's from the past, and like gets to know this person who also lived in the apartment in the past.
Yes, exactly. I think I liked the fact that there was like something a little more to the storyline, like something to make it a little more interesting. I think that's why I'm having a harder time with typical romance now, is because it just feels like everyday life. Like it feels like I'm already doing this type of stuff. Like I want to be reading stuff that's a little more interesting, but this added another layer.
She wrote a very nice male character in this book. I feel like sometimes romance, I find them to be kind of annoying or whatever, and I think he was just a really good person, and had worked through a lot of his traumas, and
Yeah.
I just liked the characters that she wrote in this
And
book.
he had some layers too. He wasn't just kind
Yeah,
of
he
like,
did.
one dimensional, but um,
Yeah.
I also like I had been craving this year like a slice of life book, but I found that the ones that I read were like really boring to me because it was like literally what I just said. Like it feels like I'm already doing that, but I think the added like time warp situation made it so that I really enjoyed it. So I I like that one a lot. Um, okay, you want to go or you want me to go? I can't remember.
Yeah, so those were our six that we both had in common. And I will add, this was unplanned. We sat and like made our list separately. We didn't like collaborate on our list. We just made it, and it just happened that six of our books were the same. And some of the books on our last four, like we had both read, but the other person didn't want to put on their top 10.
Yep.
So I know this series you didn't read. This is an unfinished series, and I put the whole series on there, which is the Kindred's Curse series by Penn Cole. Spark of the Everflame is the first book, if you're not sure what the series is. It's about a girl who's kind of learning about herself after her mom has gone missing. And she finds out some wild news about herself and like goes on this journey with a prince and some friends. I think this series is great. Side characters are excellent. You know, we've talked about that in this video multiple times, and in Kindred's Curse, like the side characters are awesome. Great friendships. Female main character has some annoying components, but she's really trying to like find herself and has kind of been put in a weird situation. I read this thinking that the fourth book was coming out in June. It has not come out yet. So I'm hoping that it comes out in 2025 because I'm hoping the third book ends on what is one of the wildest cliffhangers of any book I read this year. And still don't know what's going to happen in the next book. So, but the series is really good.
I'm actually really excited to read that one. It's been like in the back of my head, but I am trying to wait until that last book is like closer to coming out. So there's no date on that at all? I thought there was. Shoot.
No. So no date yet. I think she's alluded to 2025, but there's no actual date. So we'll see. But I still love the series. I'm still really happy I read it, but I want to know the end. So
fair.
Maybe next year I'll be like, this series was horrible, but I hope not. I hope she's going to redeem it and end it in a good way. All right. So next book, we both read this, but Alex read it last year, which is probably part of the reason it's not on her list. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I know a lot of people have read this book. Second chance romance, childhood friendship, finding yourself. I just think it's just, I've read books with a similar story, and I don't think anyone has done it as well as Christina Lauren, as well as they did it. Like, they just did it in such a beautiful way. So yeah, loved it. The Crowns of Nyaxia duology, the first duology, Serpent in the Wings of Night, Ashes in the Star-Crossed King. Excellent series. I have not read the third book yet. My husband is in the process of reading it right now, but I haven't read it. But those two books, I think I recommended them to like 100 people because I just loved that duology. I really loved Araya and Rain as characters. I felt like it was enough action without being too much, enough romance without not being enough. Like, it just was a perfect balance for me. And then my last...
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
just some notes on that one. I did read that one, and it could have, in another, like, maybe if I was in a different mood even, it would have made my list, but just, I really, really loved it. I even gifted it to someone, too. But I think just there were other books that I liked more, and also just, like, I think it was a little dark, maybe. It felt a little heavy, maybe. I don't know.
It is. It's a little heavy.
On that, I was like...
Yeah, we didn't do much with vampires, so
No.
This is a vampire book if you're into vampires, but I'm not really a vampire reader, and I still loved it, but we didn't do much vampire this year, so that's for sure. All right, and my last book in my top 10 reads for 2024 was House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I realized when I was making this list that I actually haven't read the second book, and I have it on my bookshelf. So it's motivating me to do it because I loved this book. I felt like it was the book for people who are a little bit different, and we love people who are a little bit different, and just accepting people as they are, wanting more for your own life. Just great morals. It's about a man who checks in on children who are orphaned, and he goes to a home to visit these kids, and they're all exceptional in some way. And so he learns about their caretaker and about himself, and it's just a very sweet story. So that was one of the first books I read in 2024, and for it to end up on my list after reading, 120 more books, I think says a lot about how good I thought that book was.
Okay, now for mine, that we don't have in common. My first one is Heartless Hunter, which we actually was a book we had in common as far as we both read it, and I think we both liked it. You liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it, didn't love it. You loved it.
Yeah,
so a little bit of a different feel on it.
We also read this book while we were on a trip together, and I do think that I enjoy books more when we're together. It's just,
it gives good vibes.
Like I said, I feel like a lot of these, I think about the feelings that I have surrounding the book, and a lot of that is where I was in life or physically at the time, and I feel like that helped me like it more a lot. So and honestly, I picture, we went to San Antonio, right? So we were by the Riverwalk. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
And I picture a river, kind of tunnely river bridges, stuff like that when I think of this book. And I actually don't think any of that is in the book. I think
no, but it's really funny you said that, because I actually do too when I think back to this book.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is, but it feels like I'm imagining a similar place to Riverwalk in San Antonio for the setting.
A moodier version of San Antonio is what I'm picturing. An old-timey, moodier Riverwalk.
Totally fair.
I'm not sure any of that is actually in the book, but it's in my head, and that's what matters. But this is a book about a witch who... a witch and a witch hunter, essentially, and so that's really fun. It kind of set me down a rabbit hole of a witch era. I feel like I read a couple of witchy books afterward because I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and so I feel like because of that it made my list. My next one was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Really like that one. We kind of talked about it before this video, but
we both read this one as well.
We did both read this one, and at the same time too. So I liked this one because it had, I don't know, it was quirky in a way that just I enjoyed. I felt like it made, when I'm looking at a romance, a typical romance, I feel like I need something different. I kind of talked about this when we talked about 7 Year Slip, but this had enough different quirky things about it that made me really like it. It made it stick in my mind as a standout. So there's not too much to say about it. It's just about a girl who's a traveling nurse, and she is cursed basically that the guys that she dates immediately find the one after her, and then she finds a guy who also has the same curse, and so it's just about them getting to know each other, I guess, and falling in love. So not anything super remarkable, but I just really enjoyed it and had good vibes around it, so it made my list. The next one is A Kiss of Iron by Claire Sager, I think is how you say her name. Really loved this one. It was romantic-y, gave me Bridgerton, Netflix Bridgerton vibes, but with magic. But it was very social, that high society, social politics, but with magic. And it's about a girl who basically has lost everything. They're going to take her estate, and she's like scrambling to figure out how to save her estate, essentially. And so it was really good. I'm hoping Kim reads it.
Yeah, so my plan is to read that. I have one more like Christmassy book I'm going to read, and then that's going to be my next read. So for our recap of December books in January, hopefully I can talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be nice to see how it holds up with you, because it made my top 10, which I feel like is saying something. And then my last one, which actually surprised me that this made my list, but I loved it, and it just came out of nowhere for me. It's called A Sip of Magic by Kate Swansea, I think is how you say her name. And it was just like a cozy fantasy romance it just left me with such a great feeling. I felt like I found this little gem that like nobody, I don't know, it's fun when you read a book that you haven't really, like you kind of just stumbled upon on your own, and it feels like your own little gem that you found. This book was kind of that for me, and I'm like patiently waiting for this author to come out with more. This is part of a series, but no follow-up books have come, and I'm just like, every once in a while I'll kind of look up this author and be like, so what's going on? But like, she doesn't seem super active on social media, so I'm not really getting a lot of like, does she have plans to make another book? So that was my one thing. It's very much the end. If I can remember correctly, this was like several months ago, but I feel like it ends with like you're expecting another book. Like it feels like you should be reading another book after that. And so that part I don't love, but I'm hoping that she comes out with more, and that she's okay. Like, I hope this author is like still alive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's not writing anymore, but I hope that she is, because I really liked it. It just felt. It's about. I didn't say what it's actually about, but it's about a witch who, like being a witch, you have to be a witch in the confines of like the rules that have been set by the world, I guess. And there's people who make sure, like, I don't know what you'd call that, but like people who police how magic is used. And so she opens a tea shop across the street from the male main character, who is one of the ones who like polices the magic. And so she has to kind of like, and she's making teas that are like, I don't want to say cursed, because they're actually, she's good. She's a good witch. And so they're like, you know, like she'll curse it. I don't know. I can't think of the word. She'll like do a curse on it.
A spell?
Spell. That's the word. Like curse is a negative connotation. That's not what I meant. She'll do a spell on it for like comfort for the person, or like, but it's kind of like under the table, you know? So he's grumpy and like trying to stop her from doing that, but like she's trying to help people. So I don't know. I really liked it, and it snuck on my list, but it was just good vibes, and it was fairly low stakes, but not low enough where I'm just like, okay, nothing's happening. So it was a good one, and it fell into my witch era. So yeah, those are mine. Those are my top 10 reads. It was a great year of reading for us, I think.
Yeah, we read some really awesome books. We read a few bad books.
True.
But for the most part, I feel like I felt good about the books that I read this year. So
I feel like I was probably half and half, like books that I really loved and books that either I thought were just meh or didn't like. And I feel like that's good, fairly good. I feel like next year maybe we'll have a better like handle on what we know we're gonna like, and so maybe we'll have an even more successful year next year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for the year upcoming?
So I think I'm gonna set my goal at 125 books for the year. I feel like that was around where I was at this year. I'm a little worried I won't meet it, because I did have a pretty long stretch, but I read all of Throne of Glass. I read all of ACOTAR, and those books are really long. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that like not having to read such long books will give me some more time to read other books.
That's assuming that you're not going to find other long books to read.
I know.
Which is not a great
Starting off the year in January, we know we're reading Onyx Storm, but I've heard it's shorter than Iron Flame is the rumor. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'm going to do 125. We'll see how it goes. Have a bunch of books on pre-order. I would say in the first part of the year, most excited for Onyx Storm, Iron and Embers, the new like Legends of Thesmar book, and One Time Caller by BK Borison is like near the top of my want to reads list for the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So what about for you?
I don't know about I think 50 would probably be a safe goal. I think your goal of 120 is perfect for you. I think that you'll hit that for sure. I think 50 is maybe good for me. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me what you think, but
I think 50 would be good.
Yeah. I'm hoping to read more. I've been getting more into audiobooks, so I'm hoping that helps me. But I also don't want to get burnt out, so I'm trying not to make it too challenging where it's going to make me like feel pressure, and I feel like that will be a bad thing. So
yeah, 50 is about one book a week. If you think of it that way, there's 52 weeks in the year. Yeah. 50 is about a book a week. So
so that's probably fair. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to the same releases that you talked about. We've got the Emily Henry book coming up too, and we have an Abby Jimenez too, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of really good books coming out. Yeah. The third Powerless book will come out in April too. Yeah. So I think the first half of the year is really going to be good. There's some great releases scheduled right now. So really excited for some new books and some things that I think are out there that you and I just haven't gotten to yet this year. So
yeah, that's true. Our KU subscriptions are going to be put to work for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to ride the wave of like loving this journey and reading, and yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. I want to continue to love reading because it's been such a joy this year. Something that I can always count on to like be fun and enjoyable. So if I can just continue on in that fashion, I'll be happy. We're hoping to do one buddy read a month, right? Is that what?
Yes. I think we might do more, but I think the minimum will be one buddy read a month. So
yeah. And I think that's probably close to what we did this year if we went through and actually counted the ones that weren't on the buddy read. We probably would be sitting around there. So I think that's totally a reasonable goal for us to have. But cool. I'm glad we had such a great year. I'm excited for next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Ready for our next reads.
Yep. Very excited. Excited to read the other Helen Schurer. I would never know how to say her name. I need to go on her page. Maybe she has a little blurb about like how to say it.
Maybe she does. I've watched it a couple times. It doesn't stick in my head, but
I need something that it rhymes with so I can be like just anyway. Yeah, so I'm excited. She's got some stuff that we haven't read yet, and I just loved her. I really loved her writing, so I'm excited about that. And just there's so many things that haven't even come out yet that we don't even know, and things we haven't thought about. So it's just a world of possibilities in 2025.
Yes.
But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Let us know in the comments what you have planned and what your favorite books were this year. We're always looking for recommendations, so that would be great. And I guess we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.